Something in my heart tells me that Puffy was witness to abuse with his parents. Because I'm like, people just don't wake up and just want to put their hands all over women. Now, it could be attributed to just his bitch assness. I mean, and a lot of bitch ass niggas love to put their hand on women. Puff's daddy was a true thug, a heroin dealer who sold the soothing poison to the people of Harlem and the Bronx. At the end of the day, though, Melvin slept in the suburbs where he did everything possible to keep his son away from people like himself and his victims. That I learned as a criminal justice student at UDC. And know this, at the time, UDC, the University of the District of Columbia's criminal justice curriculum was equated with John Jay. And you know that's like the criminal justice school. And one of the things that I've learned as a criminal justice graduate at the University of the District of Columbia is that it's not the ones who are the true thugs that you need to be scared of. It's the ones that are not, because they're going to go over and beyond to prove that they can be a true thug. Those, my loves, are the most dangerous of them all. New York's finest were unable to make serious criminal charges stick against Melvin, probably because so many of them were on the take. Melvin sold so much dope that he usually had tens of thousands of dollars hidden in a cab that he drove as a front. In the early 1970s, tons of heroin from Southeast Asia poured into New York City from Marseilles, an event immortalized in the movie The French Connection. Because the drug conspiracy was international, the FBI joined a select group of New York detectives to penetrate the ring. Informants eventually figured Melvin Combs as a major player. Investigators wondered how a man who drove a cab could pay cash for a Cadillac, a fancy home, and buy custom tailored clothes and furs for himself and his wife. After placing him under surveillance, investigators linked Combs to a dozen people who ran a syndicate that distributed more than $5 million worth of heroin a year in Harlem, the Bronx, and Westchester County. Based on leads from informants, Combs was placed under surveillance in early 1971. In November, after watching Combs make a transaction, police arrested him. He had $45,000 in his pocket and pounds of heroin in his car. A few weeks after his arrest, police raided the home of one of Melvin's associates and then raided the heroin mill where Combs got his supply. As a result of the bust, Combs must have guessed that his day was numbered. The syndicate knew that the feds had flipped someone, and Combs was as likely a suspect as any. On January 26, a mere 2 months after his arrest, police found Melvin Combs in Central Park, slumped over the steering wheel of his cab. He had been shot in the head at close range. Puff's daddy was 33 years old when he died. Sean John Combs was 2, and Keisha, the daughter born within 2 days of Melvin's arrest, was 2 months old. In explaining to Puff why his father would not be coming home again, Janice Combs told him that Melvin had been killed in an automobile accident. Pause. So that gives us some background as to Puff's behavior. Because living up to who your father is or was is a beast of a burden. I believe that Puffy is trying to prove things to himself and us. by trying to be that ninja and making moves like he is Tony Montana. In regards to what he did to women, I don't know how and why he got so fucked up. That'll be a story that maybe Janice Combs might want to tell about the father, because who knows? You know, Puffy could have walked in on his father doing some unsightly things with women. And then before you know it, he's then turned into this some kind of psychopathic sex predator, like what all these people were saying about him. So in regards to the abuse against women, I don't know for sure, but maybe that could have been something that was happening in the household with his mom, Janice Combs, and his father, because I don't understand why Janice is not like, son, you're embarrassing me. You putting your hands all over these women. Not that I'm a fly on a wall in their house, but I'm sure the mother could be like, stop putting your hands on women. There's too many women out here saying that you got a problem with your hands, son. That's not what I taught you. It's funny how when I come across people who have endured some kind of abuse as a child, they either run to the bad behavior or they run from the bad behavior. Something in my heart tells me that Puffy was witness to abuse with his parents, because I'm like, that's not okay. People just don't wake up and just want to put their hands all over women. Now, it could be attributed to just his bitch assness. I mean, and a lot of bitch ass niggas love to put their hand on women's. Okay, they don't want to put their hands on men's. They just like to put their hands on women's. Now, they'll put their hands on men if they have an entourage behind them, because they know that the entourage will take care of it. Puff and Keisha believed their mother's story about the death of their father until Puff started attending the private, predominantly white Mount St. Michael High School in Mount Vernon, New York. Okay, so now I understand the association between him and Heavy D, because I didn't know that him and Heavy D were cool. Let me say something. Back home, we had this other dude that went to private school with me. He was like the first rapper for DC, because what DC is known for is go-go. I have no idea why he was involved in the street life. Let me tell you how Puffy found out the truth, you know, because when I remember them private schools always had your ass going to the library to find out something about a Black history assignment or a science project, something, okay? But what happened was when he went to the library and he was, I was going to say Googling, but no, that's what it's researching the project that he had to do in school. He went over there to the microfiche. If you don't know what it is, Google it. He went over there to the microfiche and looked up his father and found out the true story about who his father was. And I'm sure in his mind, it clicked and made him think that he had to be that guy too. Sometime after the discovery, Puffy became more rebellious. He developed an interest in a new genre of music called hip hop. Before long, he was sneaking out of the house at night to hang around clubs that catered to young blacks. He was usually accompanied by a small group of friends who formed a gang known as the Valley Mob. One was Anthony Wolf Jones, and the other was Lamont Riz Gertie. They chose Valley Mob because they spent a lot of time hanging out in the Bronx, in an area called the Valley. It was a perfect fit for Puff, who seemed to want to be a bad boy by night like his mob-linked father, and the fashionable mama's boy by day. Since everyone around him had tough-sounding nicknames, Sean Combs decided to adopt one himself. He chose Puff Daddy. The name evoked images of someone who was probably a marijuana kingpin or someone who could smoke more dope than anyone else, which was exactly the kind of image he wanted. Wolf and Gertie both graduated from the Bronx's Harry Truman High School in 1983, where they were popular among their classmates. While Gertie tried to keep focused on a career in music, Wolf took the whole mob thing seriously. As a result, when Gertie moved to Atlanta to pursue his dreams, Wolf was racking up a criminal record and ended up getting convicted of attempted murder in 1991. Y'all, I'm about to tell you a secret. Y'all see the picture of that daggone wolf, man? When I tell you something about that daggone wolf, ooh, everything about that daggone wolf, y'all, ooh, he could have got me. Ain't no lies about it. Now, Puffy would have never been able to get me because I was seeing straight through his funky ass. But that wolf, ooh, something so fine, just able to just choke somebody to death with his bare hands just makes me interested. And that's the best part I could say about it. But ooh, when Wolf was released a couple of years later, Puff gave him a job as a bodyguard. By 1994, Gertie's musical dreams had soared, and he joined Wolf. Another friend, Jason Brown, was also added. After attending Howard University for 2 years, Puff dropped out to pursue a career as a music promoter and producer. He worked for Uptown Records until the trampling incident. At the time, there were really only two major hip-hop labels, Def Jam and Ruthless Records. Shortly after, Suge Knight, a former bodyguard to several entertainers, formed Death Row Records in 1992. Puff created Bad Boy Entertainment. As their names suggest, hip-hop labels attracted young black men with links to gangs or who had serious felony convictions or both. Among them were three Haitians: Jock, Haitian Jack Agant, James Jimmy Henchman Rosemond, and Walter King Tut Johnson. All three men had extensive criminal records, and all three were trying to forge their way into the music business. Rosemond had a reputation as a ruthless thug. A long keloid scar running from his left ear to his chin was testament to his once violent lifestyle. Henchman served 2 years on Rikers Island for a few of his crimes. "I was there running my shit," he recalled in a recent interview, when a little knucklehead dude called Curtis 50 Cent Jackson came to Rikers. After his release, Henchman started his own record label, which he called Henchman Entertainment. He had an artist known as Lil Sean whom he was trying to develop, but he felt that he needed a big name rapper in order to launch Sean's first record. At some point before August 1994, a beef developed between Tut and Tupac Shakur. The two hadn't seen each other for a while until Tupac recounted he bumped into Tut and Biggie on the street. Knowing of Tut's reputation for shooting first and taking names later, Tupac began to reach for his gun when Biggie told him to chill. Tupac granted Biggie's request, but the exchange damaged their friendship since Biggie was a friend of his enemy. Most people feared Tut. Tut had a criminal record going back to 1979 when he went on robbery and burglary rampages in Brooklyn. Let me tell you something about this nigga. He is mentally crazy. It is something wrong with him. Why in the fuck would you rob the Jehovah's Witnesses? Why would you go to the Kingdom Hall and rob the Kingdom Hall of your mammy and rob the Jehovah's Witnesses there? What the hell? You would have been better off going around there to them American Methodist church. Never the Jehovah's Witnesses Kingdom Hall. In 1988, he was sentenced to 8 years imprisonment on weapons and robbery charges, but was released in October 1991 after only serving 3 years. In January 1993, Tut and 6 cohorts robbed a store in Manhattan and Eddie's Unisex barbershop in Brooklyn, and then hailed a gypsy cab to escape. What? So now Tut wants to be a part of the music industry. Okay. Mark say this is how you know Puff ain't the real thing. He just all smoke and mirrors, because when Tut was like, "I want to talk to you," a real thug would have been like, "No, get the fuck on away from me." Puffy was like, "Okay." Tut was like, "I don't want no money from you. Just let me move around you. That's all I want." Puff was like, Okay. Because Tut just seemed like if he will rob his own mama, what the hell you think he would do to you? But Puffy was like, okay. I can be beneficial to you, Tut said. You don't have to give me anything, no salary or nothing. I have income coming in. Yeah, from robbing and stealing from the worlds. Shit. I just need someone to educate me about this music business. Man, Puff replied, I heard some real bad things about you. I ain't looking for more problems. Tut kept pleading his case and Puff kept resisting. It wasn't until Tut lost his temper and told Puff not to judge him by what other people have said that Puff caved in. You mean like your mammy? You mean like don't judge you by your mammy? By you robbing your mammies? Kingdom Hall? I'll give you a chance, Puff said. The first thing you need to do is read all you need to know about the music business. Learn it by heart. Even after Tut started working with Puff, he continued to lead a thug's life. Not only did Puff know about how Tut earned money, but he reportedly paid some of his legal bills. Girl. Although Tupac was in New York shooting a movie in 1994, he had spent the advance money and was broke. Two seemingly unrelated events would end up nearly costing him his life. Tupac befriended Agnot while shooting Above the Rim, in which he was playing the part of a thug named Birdie. People cautioned him about Agnot's reputation as a gangster, but Agant won him over by spending more than $5,000 on him within a few days of meeting him. This book is really exposing how broke some of these young rappers be. Just thinking about Tupac. Nigga, you was broke. You in movies. You making songs and you is broke. And getting all the bitches. And you get around Tupac. And you is broke. It wasn't long, however, before Agant's outlaw ways got Tupac in trouble. First off, fuck your bitch in the clique you claim.